Welcome back to Loon's Leaves, y'all. Today we're talking about the Hilton Carter collection at Target. All right, let's get right into it because I'm super excited about this collection and collaboration with Target. If you weren't aware, Hilton Carter is a Black cinematographer, artist, interior designer, and decorator, as well as a plant enthusiast and author. He has launched several books in the past. One I believe is called Wild Home or Wild Interior, and one is called Wild Exterior. He has launched a third book that was at Target a part of the collection. I'm not sure if it was just for this collection or if he had written it before, and it is called Wild Creations. I did pick this up. It is one of two things I picked up from the collection because the book cover is so stunning, and I will get into it in a little bit. But before I do that, I do want to show you more of the collection. So I did do some screen recording of the online collection just because when I went in store, I went to two different Targets, by the way, both around the same size, and they were not super Targets. The collections that I saw didn't feature everything that is a part of this collection, so that's why I did the screen recording of the collection online. He does release planters of various types with beautiful modern minimalistic designs. He has released a faux plant collection as well as a live plant collection. The live plants you can only purchase in store, as well as some plant accessories like aprons, pruning shears, spray bottles, and things of that nature. And lastly, he has also released some propagation stations and terrariums. So I just think this collection overall is very well designed and worth the money. It is not too overpriced. There are a couple of smaller items that I would maybe price a little bit lower, but overall, everything in the collection is very affordable for what you're going to get because it is such high quality. I love the minimalistic design, and I love that I haven't seen a lot of this before. So to get into it, I would like to show you guys what I saw in my first Target store. I'll do a little bit of a voiceover. Again, as you guys all know, I'm very awkward at filming in person, so the footage is a little bit choppy as I was trying to cut different pedestrians out of the footage, so that way they didn't see me recording and things like that. So let's get into what I saw in store. All right, so both Targets had around the same size display. Here are some live plants. These smaller succulents were around $5, and they were the cheapest item in the collection. There are a couple of planters that you might see as well that are not part of his collection that other people had just placed down while they were shopping, probably to switch one out for one of his. There are a few of the faux plants that he has to offer from the collection. And these ones in particular, these fake pilea or faux pilea and the ponytail palm next to it were so convincing faux plants that I had to touch them to feel that they were fake and then look at the tag. This monstera is in fact real. It has a new leaf coming out and was in the best shape. This first Target I went to had plants, the live plants were in a little bit better shape than some of the other Targets. So you might have to go to a few locations to really find something that you love, or just shop online if it's not for one of the live plants. There's a bird of paradise, fiddle leaf fig, and here are a few more of the faux plants in the beautiful planters. Okay, so now that you guys saw what I saw in the first Target store that I went to, I saw a similar display in the second Target, and I'll roll that footage now. The second display had a few more live plants, however, less variety of live plants. So there was a lot more, but a lot less varieties or species to choose from. All of the plants that were live seemed to be in a decently good shape. I mean, they could use a good wipe down with some neem oil, maybe cut off a couple of the yellowing leaves, but overall they seemed okay. None of them seemed to be riddled with pests or anything like that. None of them were dying, and I give credit to Target for this just because they don't have a setup for a greenhouse. I don't know if their employees are going around and watering the live plants, and the live plants are something that are going pretty quickly at Target. They were pretty picked over in both stores. So if you're interested in the live plant collection part of this, then I would get to your Target sooner rather than later. As far as affordability of the live plants, it's about the same as your average big box store. The larger plants were around $30. Smaller plants could be anywhere between $5 to $15. And for the more popular plants like the Monstera Delicioso, which I have one behind me, with the pretty moderate size, that's a good price. You might be able to find one for a little bit cheaper, maybe $20 at a big box store, but you're not going to get much better than a $30 Monstera. There were a few birds of paradise, as well as pretty decently sized rubber trees as well, and I thought that was a good deal for a rubber tree for $30 of that size. Now, something that I was very, very impressed with in this collection overall was the faux plant collection. The faux plants that Hilton Carter has designed are some of the most convincing faux plants I have ever seen. And in fact, in the first Target, when I walked through the collection itself and the display, I had to physically touch a couple of the plants to see if they were live or not and read the labels because they were that convincing. I will put some footage in now, if I have not already, of a Studio McGee rubber plant in comparison to Hilton Carter's, or not Studio McGee, Studio 52, I believe it is. I will correct myself if I'm wrong. In comparison to a Hilton Carter rubber plant. And the price difference is drastic. The Studio 52 is around $15, and it's about 6 inches tall to 8 inches tall. The Hilton Carter rubber tree, as you can see in the footage, is almost as tall as I am, and I'm about 5'5", so it's probably around a 4.5 foot, 5 foot rubber tree, and it was just stunning. It looked very real. And I know there's a big price difference there, but the way he thought about this design clearly shows. One of the other ones that I thought was really intriguing was a vining monstera, and it was just beautiful. That one was around $50 if you saw that on the screen footage that I shared earlier. So if you're interested in purchasing faux plants, I would definitely go online. I think you'll see a better variety on there. Also, if you're interested in buying any of his plant accessories or propagation stations and things like that, you'll definitely see a better variety online. In fact, both the times that I went in person, I did not see any propagation stations. I might have in the first Target 1 or 2, but there wasn't as many as you can see online. As far as products that I want to go back and purchase, I purchased 2 things. I purchased a book and I purchased a live plant, which I'll show you in a second. I really fell in love with this tiny sprayer that you probably saw in some of the footage. It looks like a honeycomb or a bee's hive, and it was this burnt amber color, but it was only 4 inches tall and about $20. So that's the only thing that was a little bit overpriced. I thought maybe around $15 would be a better price point just because it was on the smaller side. But again, it was beautiful and I might end up going back and purchasing it. Something else that I was really drawn to were the mini greenhouses / terrariums. He had a larger one on stilts that was around $100, but just the mini greenhouse without the tabletop stilts were about $30, and they had a beautiful side opening to them, so that is something that I thought was really, really well designed. Overall, this collection was really strong. It's something that I hope Target decides to do again. I'm so happy they decided to collaborate with Hilton Carter for their first live plant launch, and I wanted to support the launch in order to encourage Target to do more collaborations like this with artists in the future. So let me get into what I purchased. I did pick up one of the live plants. Hilton Carter designed these little tags with Target as well that have whether they're live or faux, which was very helpful because, as I said, his faux plants were incredibly convincing, and I did have to do a couple of double takes. It does have some care instructions on the other side. This is a philodendron birkin, It is a plant I do not own. It was one of the only plants that he carried in the live plant collection that I don't already own, so that's why I decided to pick this one up. And I found this at the first Target that I went to. As far as the planter goes, it's a nice, sleek black design with a little bit of shine to it. It's nothing fancy or out of the ordinary, and I think a lot of his other planters were of better quality and of more beautiful design. But this was only a $15 plant, and you're getting a very nice sized planter along with a pretty decent sized plant. So I thought that was a great price for the planter plus the plant. So that's the live plant I purchased in amazing condition. And then, as I said before, I purchased his book, Wild Creations. And I purchased this book purely based on aesthetic. I'm not a big coffee table book person. I do not like a lot of clutter in our home. Hello, there's my dog, if you're wondering what that is. And I just fell in love with the cover of this, which ends up actually being a mural. I'm gonna open it up to the back page here. This is a paint by number mural that he actually, in the book, leaves you the plans for if you were to decide to go about doing it yourself. You can project this on your wall, and then he leaves all the directions in the last chapter on how to do the paint by number. I originally thought this book was just all plant creations. Kind of like the mural, he has a couple of different other art projects as well as a lot of plant crafts on how to make certain hanging planters, how to spruce up different style pots, how to make ceramic planters and concrete planters. Sorry, I was losing the word there. I thought this was pretty much just a plant craft book, but as I started to read through it, I actually learned quite a bit. I didn't think I would get much out of this book other than it just looking beautiful and having beautiful imagery, just because I know a lot about plants and I absorb so much plant YouTube and all there is to offer with that, as well as I read a lot of books about plants. But he had a couple of tips in here, in chapter 2, which is titled Wild Hacks, which is all different kinds of hacks that you can do for your plants while you're away, different ways to get rid of bugs, cover up ugly parts of the plant like the soil and things like that. He had quite a few little hacks in here that I am going to definitely start using. I do not want to give them away because I would love for you guys to go out and support Hilton Carter and his collaboration with Target and purchase the book for yourselves. It is stunning, it really is. So I'm glad I went with this as my second purchase. It was around $18. It says on the back here it's about $25, but it was 30% off for the collection itself. So very affordable all around. I hope you guys found this really helpful, especially if you wanted a preview of the Hilton Carter collection at Target. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.